Welcome back to another episode of the free VST Plugins Detective, where I review, test out, and demonstrate various free VSTs. For today, we're looking at the Pringles kit. As it sounds, this is a percussion VST based off the Pringles can. One of the most unique and interesting VSTs I've seen in a while. I'm going to rate this one a potato chip out of 5. And quick side note, did you know there's no potato chip emoji? I was going to put it in the description, but couldn't find one. Anyway, so I'm just going to play it. I actually am making a song right now using this. I'm just calling the song Pringles. So I'm going to play you this kind of like unique groove that I'm working on. It's kind of like a techno style groove. So I'll play you like the main idea once it kicks in. Right? Okay, so sounding actually not that bad. Now, I'm going to mute these other elements that I got from, I think this like a techno sample pack. I'm still obviously just working on this. I just started this track. But this is now just the Pringles sounds. So when I pull up the GUI first off, right, so you can hear it, looks like this. Super unique GUI, right? And there's a couple unique things about this one, because at first I was like, there's probably some joke VST, which they do exist, that's not really useful. But the more I started working with it, the more I'm like, you know what? There actually is a good amount of stuff, for lack of a better word, to this one. So when I play it, up in the high register right now, right? And what's interesting is when I first played this section, I was like, I can actually see that being used in like a Diplo, trap, even maybe like DJ Snake style song. Like they kind of like not fully on tune. I actually have this right here deactivated. I'm probably going to add into the track. Sometimes I do this when I'm playing around with VSTs. I like will create a different melody so I don't forget it. So I have this. Right? I don't know how this is going to sound in the mix. Like, especially with this going. Like at some point I'm going to add it in maybe later on like the drop or something like that. But the more I started playing around this, I'm like, you know what? There's actually some potential in a unique way with this VST. So what's cool about it is the two upper registers of the VST are just kind of the same sample pitched up and down. So if I let's go back here again. I also have a bunch of stuff on this one here right now, by the way. I might as well say that. So reverb, put a phaser on it actually too, and then we have a, I don't know why this is not popping up. I'm gonna do that. So I have a phaser, reverb, and then just Q2, right? So I'll mute these for now so you can just hear the sample or the VST dry. So I have this, right? So the same sample, just kind of pitched standard, right? However, once I get down to the lower register, there's all these different other sound effects based off the Pringles can. So I have this one now. I don't know if that's supposed to, I wish they had kind of names them. I don't know if there's like the lid being closed. And then we have, I don't know, is that the sound of the chip maybe? Nice little roll. Maybe it's like the bottom of the can. I honestly have no idea. Another roll. Weird, almost metallic, tangy sound. And those are the main samples, right? So at first, like I said, when I picked this up, I'm like, it's kind of like a funny VST. I mean, in terms of the other features, we have a cutoff here. You can always do that using a filter, right? And then reverb distortion. I don't really use the distortion. I'd rather use like maybe even the amp. I find the guitar amp from the stock plugins in Ableton usually creates a good effect. And I can adjust that using the dry wet. And also too, low cool pro tip. Sometimes when using like a random sample, like that, I can always bring in the tuner. And I'm like, all right, so it could be an A. And then another cool pro tip. And sometimes this is actually what I do when I'm using like a sample that I'm like, it's so kind of not exactly perfectly pitched, right? Or not perfectly in tune. is doing the spectrum accurate fast, do this. Sometimes I can move the mouse here. I'm like, okay, gives me some kind of idea. Usually I have the highest one. Not always true. And then I can start messing around with it. There's a few different tricks I use to like determine the note of something. But yeah, honestly, it's actually surprisingly one of those weird plugs that at first I'm like, oh, maybe I'll just create like a little melody for this video. Then I started with this, right? And I'm like, oh, it actually doesn't sound that bad. Then going to this kind of groove. Because it does kind of sound like a techno song. Then I'm like, all right, if I add these techno drums, I have this one little like techno melody thingy from Splice, like I said. And then also this is not mixed or even done yet, but then like this part obviously is, but even without that, I mean, there's a little too much low end on these drums, but and this at some point will come in, like I showed you before, because I feel like that sound, I feel like could have used in like even like a fat like 808 drop or something. I don't know. Surprisingly, maybe I'm just trying to get too creative, but gotta give this plugin credit at first. I thought it was gonna be like just a huge joke, but gotta say, I'm officially now making a song using only Pringles samples, or samples from the Pringles can, as a result of the amazing Pringles Kit VST.